Hello and welcome to the Thursday show. I don't know why I'm down, hiding in the little frame here.
Where'd you go,
Welcome
Paul?
on the Frontline Gaming Network. This is your weekly tournament rundown show where you run down the hottest and biggest tournaments coming up over the course of the weekend. We're going to tell you about what the meta is. We're going to tell you what the meta isn't and how it's changing. We got our finger on the pulse, and I can't wait to talk about it. I'm joined by Adam Camilleri.
Evening, everybody. Welcome to the show.
And Dustin Henshaw.
Hello, everybody.
We're going to be talking about the Baltic Cup 10, the Denver 40K Fight Club, and the San Antonio Shootout. Cool names for places. Before we do that, I do want to give a shout out to the 2D6 Grand Tournament 41-player 5-round event in Oslo, Norway. Organizing club is the largest in Norway with over 180 members. They have a 2-story clubhouse.
That's awesome.
Jelly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, open 24/7.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
How
next
cool is
level.
that?
Dude,
I love this type of trivia,
wow.
by the way. I love from around the globe and seeing how cool some of these clubs are. It makes me want to visit. Like, can I go get a game in over there? What do you need? A membership card? Like, what do I got to do?
You imagine,
I feel like it's only fair.
mid-spring, you've been out in the town with the boys, you got a kebab in one hand, a beverage in the other, and you're like, you know what I really feel like right now? Game of Necromunda. And you rock on over to the freaking clubhouse and just rock one out at like 2 a.m. in the morning.
That
Sounds
is
good.
awesome. Yeah, so we got to, with the events we talked about, we weren't able to put a big feature spotlight on them, but definitely wanted to mention it for everything else that was going on. Again, so cool to be checking into places all over the world. If you were just joining us or listening to us after the fact, we do this live each and every Thursday here on the Frontline Game Network, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. A couple minutes late this time. I apologize. But around 9-ish p.m. Eastern Time, we have a great chat community. Bunch of cool people to say hello to. They keep the show as live and as active as we do. It's like they're all cast members. So awesome. Come join us and hang out with us if you're listening to us after the fact. If you happen to got nothing else to do, you realize you could be hanging out with us right now.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're not, why aren't you? And if you are, welcome.
If you're painting, what else are you going to do other than listen to us and chat with us while you paint? Makes
We
perfect
haven't asked
sense.
people, what do they do when they're hanging out listening?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. What do
we
you do? Do you actually physically sit there and look at your laptop, your phone, your TV and watch us and interact with us? Or are you actually doing something else?
Perched on Meta Watch.
Nice.
Yeah. I'd like to think that they sit there with their hat in their hands waiting to see if their list gets read out, and they throw it on the ground, throw some popcorn at the screen, spit on the ground in disgust, but with that enthralling that they can't be busy doing anything else.
That's true.
So they're start feverishly painting. They're waiting till to Thursday to figure out what they need to paint for Saturday.
Yeah, leaving it
that's
that fine.
That's ballsy.
Like a lot of tournament players. Don't worry, you're not alone out there.
No, of course not. I would never paint 60 neophytes in 4 days for a tournament.
Yeah, who's ever done that?
Who's ever done that?
Love it, folks. Sounding off, building Votan, eating, playing some video games. Absolutely love it. Yeah, cool. Anyway, we appreciate y'all taking the time, and of course, we appreciate the folks listening after the fact also. But just want to make it clear that you could come hang out if you have the time. So the first thing we want to talk about is the Baltic Cup 10. That's from Hamburg, Germany, in Europe. I'm actually told that's in Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, this just in. It's in Europe. Yeah.
So,
111 players. We got to ring the bell of shame here. Is that it's a giant event. 41 players out of the 111 did not list their faction. You know how hard that makes our jobs. So we gotta throw a little shit.
it's literally like another 30 minutes to do the single, to do that event. And so to that extent, in punishment for taking 30 minutes of my life, I give you the dishonorable faction breakdown. This is the list of everybody who did not list their faction. And the breakdown of how many of each faction, so we can shame them appropriately, because you should feel ashamed.
I don't know. I think this is actually going to make people want to not put their faction in more.
No, we can't give a spotlight to this. Well, I'll tell you what, you don't get to get talked about. We're going to the next set.
There you go. Yeah. We did the work, but you're not getting it.
So only I get punished from this.
Yes.
That's what happens.
As always. That's what always happens.
It feels bad.
So let's just go straight to the podium.
Straight to the podium.
No.
Well,
let's read the factions just so we can get a clear picture, because one of the things that one of the hallmarks of the show, why we do it, is to actually show people how, what the kind of rivers and streams of how the factions are being adjusted as folks get information from the previous weeks.
That's right. Unfortunately, only 41 of you didn't put your listen on time. That's it. Was ist los? Come on, guys. Come on. All right, for the Imperial Super Faction, there are 5 Stitches of Battle, 2 Custodes, 4 Astra Militarum, 3 Grey Knights, and 7 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 2 Space Wolves, 5 Blood Angels. Chaos, there's 5 T-Suns, 5 Death Guard, 9 Demons, 5 Renegade Knights. Heretic Astartes, there's 2 Creations of Bile, 1 Black Legion, 4 Emperor's Children, 1 Iron Warriors, and 1 Night Lords. Xenos, there's 6 Necrons, 6 Orcs, 13 Tau.
Holy smokes.
yikes.
1 Votan. And then Hive Mind, there's 6 Tyranids in a Gene Stealer cult. Eldaria, there's 1 Drukari, 6 Harlequins, 6 Asuriani, and 2 Yunari, meaning the faction podium is Tau at 13. Demons and CSM tied in second with 9, and the Imperial Knights in third with 7. Tau, wow, okay, they're coming in hot.
This
in
is
Germany.
scary. This 111 players, 13 Tau. You gotta be tech for
What's
Tau.
that,
if you're gonna win this
11%?
event. Yeah, man.
Tau?
It's fearsome. Fearsome. It's got to tell me something about the terrain. Like you'd think, I would assume it was WTC terrain, which isn't unfavorable to Tau, but you gotta have a Tau list built for it. You can't just take an all-comers Tau list from, say, a player place terrain and think it's gonna work there. But still, and couple that with the fact that there's 9 CSM and 9 demons, this is a really interesting spread.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no
Mhm.
doubt. So with this next part of the show, we highlight some players. We pull out 2 or 3 lists. Typically, we try to find the highest ranked ITC members there, because this is really this is crunch time for the ITC season. People are going to be trying to get as many points as they possibly can, and this is an awesome event. With number of rounds, number of players, and then pretty soon be fighting for those buys.
That's true, and lovely segue right there as well. I
Never
couldn't
do
have
that
done it
again.
better. No, that was beautiful, and you should respect it.
Oh my god, that's the thing now. That's actually
It is. It is.
100%.
You got to get the qualifiers so you can get to your Q.
Dun
Whatever.
dun
that-
dun. I don't.
Yikes! All right. So, top players in attendance in this bad boy. We've got a couple of the German WTC players that were playing, representing the country in August, and then we've got the Votan list. There's 1 Votan list in attendance, and I had a look, and I decided it's going to be the first one we ever break down on the show. But first up, we have Matthias Bellman. He's a WTC Team Germany 2022. He's playing Twilight Sated Harlequins. So it's really starting to catch on the Twilight internal meta shift away from the light. He's got a battalion, Shadowseer Troopmaster 5x5 troop, a Solitaire and 5 Star Weavers, and then a patrol with another Shadowseer and 3x10 troop.
Those big troops, that's like that's a Harpster special, isn't it?
It is. It looks like the list is really coming together, the archetype, because this is the second, third, maybe even fourth top player we've seen take something virtually the same. You move a couple of bean counters, that's the core of the list, I believe. What do you guys make of it?
I mean, Harlequins are actually kind of, people tout them as like one of the top lists, period, like in the game right now. And you could kind of, depending on whatever it is you think you're going to be going into, there are no bad choices. It's like, how do you make 7 data slates amazing? Well, that sliver of the codex seems to have figured it out, and players are really taking advantage of it.
Exactly right. So really, to equate how well this list is going to do, we really got to see and ask ourselves, how well does this do into Demon, CSM, and Tau? And into Tau, I think it's much of a muchness. It does just fine. Demons is an interesting one. Have anybody seen Harlequins and Demons recently? Because I haven't got a good beat on how well that matchup goes.
Let me think about that, because basically one of the, I guess, the thrills of all the Eldar is that they just cut through armor like nobody's business, or maybe do a lot of damage. But Demons, they don't care about your AP.
One thing I will say, going for and against this list, into Demons over the previous one, they have more melee killing power, but Demons really struggle to crack a high density of transports. And so this list has taken away 3 or 4 of those transports to put in the big bombs, which can get exposed by flamers, but you have to kind of let that happen. The Eldar player has to be like, oh no, you're going to get flamed, and you got to kind of be okay with it. So I think this is actually a pretty good matchup there. The one where I'm worried about it is more of the CSM list. Some of the Creations of Bile lists out there might have a fear. All the Emperor's Children lists might be a big struggle for this one. Because it doesn't have any shooting. All the shooting got stripped out with the light change. There's no fusion pistols, there's no neuro disruptors. It's just 5 times 2 shuriken cannons to try and do anything to CSM from range, and then CSM in cover couldn't give 2 shits about your shuriken cannons.
Well, let's go. What list we saw a couple weeks ago is with the Thousand Suns paired with the Flamers. Is what are Harlequins going to do against that?
Well, the Harlequin CC in that one will be able to actually do pretty well because they can cut through the. They're not dark though. So either way, they're still going to be
the big truth.
It's volume. It's volume. They want their volume.
Yeah.
They have the auto wounding on 6s when they're attacking. They need volume of attacks to go into those kind of things. That's what they have to rely on, and that's the same with the demons too, because they can't turn off demon invulns. That's something they normally rely on when they have something like that. But they have good close combat, and demon saves are not usually good in close combat. So once they get in there, they can start shredding.
Weak to the old ways of doing things.
Exactly.
All right, moving on to our second list. This is Emmanuel Wolf, once again a representative of Team Germany, who did come third in the WTC this year. So no slouches on that team. One of the tower lists, of course, we had to get one of them out. This is the Farsight Enclave's build. It is a double patrol. Starts off with Farsight and an Enforcer Commander. 10 Kroot, 4 Kroot Hounds, 1 Riptide, 2 Sunshark Bombers. Second patrol, 2 Cold Star Commanders, so a total of 4 Commanders, the maximum you can take in 2 detachments. 10 strikes, 2 more units of 4 Kroot Hounds, and 2 more Riptides. So it's 2 Bombers, 3 Riptides, 4 Commanders. And I think it's savage.
That is savage.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid list of what we've been seeing recently.
Yeah, so one of the things I prescribed to, and one of the philosophies of the Australian WTC tower list, was that a commander is essentially 2.5 crisis suits in a trench coat mushed together. And so every time you take a commander, for every 2 commanders, it's kind of the equivalent of 4 to 5 crisis suits. So when you take 4 commanders, you don't need to take crisis suits. And this list demonstrates it perfectly. With the points he's saving from not taking the crisis, gets the commanders, gets the Riptide, and gets a few other bits and pieces. I do like that it still has 3 units of Kroot and Kroot Hounds, 1 unit of Kroot, 1 unit of Strikes. It's still got enough periphery crap to go in, stand on objectives and force a few little trades and some people to come out from their hidey holes, so you get to get shot. But apart from that, I think it's a good, well-rounded list. And this is one of the lists. This is what I talked about, tuning your list more for the tables. I think this is really well tuned for the WTC boards, if that is what they're playing there. I don't have 100% confirmation, just my strong assumption.
I don't know. So, in the folks in the chat can tell us. I saw one comment about the terrain in the chat, which really appreciate. That's one of some of the intel we get from boots on the ground when folks are actually going to these events. Sometimes give us some info, and I think they said something about the European terrain, but I don't know if that was a confirmation or also a question.
Like if Germany is they go hard for WTC, like they're going to use a WTC terrain. I would almost assume that at this point, and this is probably the best tile list I've seen on the WTC terrain as of late. I really, because I've always been a huge proponent of the commanders. The actual math that you were telling on it makes a lot of sense to me. Like I don't know how they came up with it, but it makes perfect sense to me. And I think that is actually a great example.
One on top of another, and they put on 1 trench coat. That's
I mean, I got that part of it, but
okay.
I know. I mean, in terms of how they actually would match up to how many they would, because they have a 2-up ballistic skill, right? And that makes a huge difference when you're talking about Tau that are normally a 4-up, and they have great weapons. They're good at shooting. They have all the options of weapons. I love them. And then the Riptides, like we've talked about before, they have the great shoot and scoot. They can be safe. They can be aggressive. They can do whatever you need them to do. The bombers are just nasty.
Good.
Then you have Kroots, and even has some strikes to hold objectives, do some actions, like whatever you need them to do. It's got everything you need. There's no fat in the list. As much as like Kroot Hounds and Kroot might seem like it, they're not.
Totally agree. That's possibly my pick to win the event. That list or that archetype. I mean, but it's hard to pick against Tau. There's 13 in attendance. So.
Yeah.
Jay Hubner is up next. I've colloquially said this may be getting battle ready because he's probably been under the pump getting everything painted. This is everybody sit down. This is the very first Leagues of O10 list we're unpacking on the Thursday show. This is Ymir Conglomerate, or the Big Glom, as I like to call it. He's got an outright attachment with a Grimnir, 2x3 Pioneers, and 2 Sagittars. Well, of course, there's 2. They come in a package of 2. Then his second patrol is another Grimnir, so he's doubling down on the Psykers. A single Carl, 10 Warriors, 10 Berserkers, 5 Hearthguard, which is the Terminator equivalents, 2 more Sagittar, and a Land Fortress. Jump in, whoever wants to try and take a swing at unpacking this. There's a lot to this list.
I love all those transport Sagittars. Well, if you don't know, but you're going to find out right now, is that you can break up a unit that would normally be able to get broken up and put them in those transports. So these 10-man units, you could split them up and kind of give them some insulation if the mission or your opponent calls for it.
It looks like it's exactly built to do that. 10 Berserkers is going to be starting the game. Pretty much every game is 2 units of 5, and same as the Warriors, it's 2 units of 5. And so you really get to double down on... So the only real pieces of OBSEC here are the 2x3 bikes and the now 2x5 Warriors. And so it becomes a much better game for putting things on objectives. Cool, Sagittar gets blown up, 5 OBSEC mooks get out, so much the better. The Sagittars actually shoot quite respectively. The Berserkers are a great combat deterrent, and then the Land Fortress, the chunky Land Fortress, sitting at the back, really quite imposing. The only thing this list is missing that I assumed everyone would be starting with is a Forge Master, a Brokier Forge Master.
That's actually what the chat just called up too, is it to repair the Land Fortress. But I kind of look at the fact that Land Fortress being on the table and it's got all the hype around it, that he's essentially paying those points just to buy a turn for the rest of his army.
And look, it is very early. Hobby lag and all sorts. Maybe you can't get hold in the model. Who knows why there's no broke here? There could be a multitude of different reasons over and above him just thinking that this is the better way I want to build it. How do you rate this, Dustin? Does this look like something that you'll be afraid of?
He's not afraid of anything. He's Gene Cult. He's going to be all over your.
I ain't afraid of everything. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I ain't afraid of everything. It's one of the earlier iterations. Like it's going to take a while for the leagues of Voten to actually hit their stride. After their initial nerf, before they even got to really play too much, they got to figure out things from scratch again. Because before, Berserkers were like, I would say you took 30 of them. You just because they were just incredible. Points hike they got, probably not worth it. I still think they're really good. And I think they're really scary. Like automatic fight and death is always terrifying, and they hit like trucks.
But do they? I know they're no longer automatic 30, or do you say you're 25?
I think it's closer now to 20-25 that you would take of them. Maybe not max 30, just because of the points, but 20. I think 20 for sure, because they, like I said, they're good. One squad, even though you split up into 2 5s. I don't feel as threatened when it's only 2 of them. You know what I mean? I feel like you need more of a threat saturation for that. The bikes, they're incredible too. They don't have to be max. They min squatting the bikes is perfect.
Well, this is remember we see lists like this all the time when people are bringing out a list for the first time. It's kind of just one of everything in it. The only thing he's got 2 of is the Sagittars and the bikes. And the bikes are, I believe, the bikes are the best thing in the book, hands down. I think the bikes are the best thing in that book. They get you the most points, do the most work, actually make an impact on the battlefield early rather than having to do all their movement late, and actually apply pressure and clear objectives. But with this list, missing the Brokier Forge Master, which I thought was ubiquitous. I thought that guy was auto include. Turns out we're all wrong.
Maybe he doesn't have it. You know?
Yeah, maybe he doesn't have it. The other things pointed out in chat, they want to know if there's beams, Magna, or what on the Land Fortress. I forgot. I actually thought about that, being like I should brackets beam or ion or Magna or whatever. I believe this is beams.
I was about to ask you the guns on the Pioneers too, because the top gun could
I don't remember the Pioneers. I remembering to go back and double check that it was beams, and because I didn't check, I didn't write it down, but I do believe it is beams on the Land Fortress.
We'll go with beams.
Yeah. So that's the 3 lists, boys. What do we think?
I like seeing the original Voten. Like I said, I think this is actually great for just testing everything out, seeing what you like. So that Voten list is great. The Tau list, like I said, I think it's the best WTC list for Tau that I've seen in a while. And the Harlequins have been figured out, even with Twilight now. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. To pick a winner, there's 5 Blood Angels. Blood Angels have been doing real well. They play really well in everything. They don't care about you scooting up with those bikes. So I'm going with all tried and true Blood Angels for this one.
I'm going to go CSM. I'm going to go CSM. Takes another big scalp. 4 Emperor's Children. I think they have enough. If they're playing the list that I believe they're playing, the Vic kind of Anthony Vanilla list with actually quite a decent amount of pocket shooting, in addition to a full amount of board presence and pressure, I think they can do really well against all these Tau lists, all these other demon lists. So, going to go Heretic Astartes.
There we go.
I'm going with Tau, but not any Tau. That specific Tau list, because like
That
I said,
one right there. Yeah.
that specific Tau list right there.
With the Riptides and the Bombers, I mean we've seen Andrew Gagno do really well
Yeah.
with a very similar configuration, and so yeah, that list tears people up, especially when people disrespect the Bombers, or really sometimes you just can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Sometimes you just like, you know what? Those are just gonna have to do whatever they want.
I'm going to take some damage. I hope it doesn't do as much damage.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
move on to turn 2. You know, it's where it's at. Before we go into the next event, do we know where Joe is? Is it? I don't know.
He's at one of the events we're doing.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. You hang
He's
tight.
at this
there
one.
he is. He's at this one.
It's right there. It's right there.
How
See?
convenient.
I am. That's how good.
That's how good
There you
Paul
go.
is. He knew he was just screwing with you guys.
There we go.
Definitely.
Next event is the Denver 40K Fight Club, Denver, Colorado. Already winner over there.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
I
think
in
so.
Canada. That's scary to me.
62 players, 6-round event. What are we going to see there?
For the Imperial, they're going to see 2 Sisters of Battle, 3 Custodes, 1 Admech, 3 Astra Militarum, 2 Grey Knights, and 2 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 1 Dark Angel, 2 Blood Angels, 1 Ultramarine, 3 Black Templar, 1 White Scar, and 1 Iron Hand. Chaos, there's 3 T-Suns, 1 Death Guard, 6 Demons, and 4 Renegade Knights. The Heretic Astartes, there's 3 Emperor's Children, 2 Creations of Bile, and a single Night Lords. Xenos, there's 2 Necrons, 1 Orc, 1 Tau, 1 Votan. Wow, Xenos just not even coming out this time. Hive Mind, there's 5 Tyranids, no GSC, boo. Eldari, there's 2 Drakari, 3 Harlequins, 4 Assyriani, and a Yunari, which means the faction podium is Demons and CSMs topping it off at 6, Tyranids second with 5, and then Assyriani and Renegade Knights in third with 4. Assyriani, again, actually, it's only 4, I know, but it's still like they're still making it more.
It's the same. It was the same last week. There's a little wave. There's a little Assyriani wave just cresting at the moment.
Exactly. Also, the Black Templars outnumbering the Blood Angels in this one.
Yeah, I don't get. I've got no reason. I've got no explanation for any
Oh,
of that crap.
where are all your boys here?
I don't know what happened there. So let me look at the other outliers here. We have now. This is something we've seen in several of the tournaments that we've called out. Is that there's a Yunari every now and then. There's a Night Lords every now and then. I want to know. I want to know what's up with the Night Lords and the Yunari, because these are not unique. I mean, of course, the players are unique, and maybe their takes on the list are unique. But we're seeing those factions kind of creep in.
Well, there was one in the previous event. There is one in this event. There was a couple last week. There's almost like there's just one every week. There's a Night Lords player at an event every week, which is strange. It's strange that it's Night Lord. It's not Alpha Legion. I think Alphas are actually better than Night Lords, and it's not them. It's not. I mean, there's sometimes more than Word Bearers, and people thought Word Bearers was the best sub faction out of the gate. Initially,
that's a good. You make an excellent point. Is that the Word Bearers? We thought, oh man, these shenanigans they can pull with the possessed, like everyone's going to be doing it. That's going to rule the roost. And then you haven't seen them past a week 1.
No,
Night Lords are eternal. So.
Night Lords seems to be one every freaking week, and Word Bearers is a maybe. Maybe there's one. Whereas it's Creations of Bile, Emperor's Children taking up usually the body of the Heretic Astartes super faction. Good point out. And even the Black Legion as well. There's more Black Legion than Word Bearers, which is another bit of a head scratcher. But I suppose Abby just is that good sometimes, right? But yeah, the other one that I thought I needed to point out for this one, I don't know what it's about Denver, but there's no Necrons in Denver. In fact, as Necrons are on the decline, it feels like they're on the decline everywhere. From being one of the most numerous factions.
Well, look, you take Carr off the silent crutch. You know what are you gonna do?
All the bangers, Paul. All the bangers in fine form.
I don't mean that. I love the model.
Wow,
but it does seem like that when that change has causing some of these Necron players to kind of question whether or not they sleeve them up.
It's so
they don't score points any less. Like they're still
no. That's
exactly.
The only thing that really hit was the silent crutch. I love that.
Oh, dude, it's so good. The only secondary you can argue got worse was the noble, which the one where the nobles have to get kills. Because the Silent King and the CCB aren't core, they have less buffs, so they're less good at getting kills. That's the only one you could argue got worse.
Okay.
That's the only one you could even argue got worse. They still do it, you know? Oh, it's 4 Kroot. Is my Silent King going to do it? It's yes, it's going to do it. It's going to get you 3 points. It's not going to kill Terminators for you anymore to get you 3 points, but it probably shouldn't have been able to anyway. So, Yeah, but I don't understand why Necrons are falling out. They've gone down by about 50% over the last month.
It is very
Is it-
possible. Sorry, Dustin jumped in.
No, go ahead.
It's very possible the Necron Generals just got kind of tired of scoring 100 points
Go ahead.
and just want to play something else.
No, I could see that. There is a lack of special rules and like spicy, crazy stuff to do game by game that you could just kind of get bored of like movement phase got 40 points. Next movement phase 40 points. Cool.
Yeah,
Next movement phase. Did you stop me getting 20 points in my third turn? No, you didn't. 20 points.
Yeah,
It could get dull.
That's true.
Oh.
I think they just need to figure out where they're going to pivot their list now, because obviously Necrons are still good. They were already winning. The Silent King was not the thing that was making them win. I'm sorry.
No,
it wasn't.
it's the secondaries, hands down. All of
Yeah,
them.
Some
exactly.
good players didn't even play with him. He sat in the
Exactly.
back or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, is it they go to like back to like mass Ghost Arcs and 10-man warrior squads? They have just MSU. Or do they max up those Scarabs again? Is the triple Satan going to come back? They have so many builds actually now that I just need to find the one that is best to still score their points now, because now they have 450 extra points. Like
Yeah. I mean, Silent King isn't auto include now. You could have some fun and see what you can get in your list for 450
Exactly.
points.
I think the lack of Necrons is a bit of like a false fall situation. They still exist. Everyone's still got them on the shelves. People got the army. I think we're seeing something organic happen out there, which is cool. But it's not because there's any type of real meaningful decrease in power of the Necrons.
Yeah. All right. So top players in attendance, my good men. First
They
up,
might
is
also
Kyle.
be afraid of Creations of Bile too.
that's also
true.
That's
That's true.
true.
So
Well, I was about to extrapolate. The only thing that could
okay.
realistically in the meta that could be pushing them out would be CSM, possibly demons. I mean, demons are extremely good at killing things like scarabs. So there is that. All right, but top players in attendance. First up is Kyle Parry, who's the top ranked player in attendance, being third in the US West ITC rankings. He's playing Dark Sated Harlequins, and it's very boring. It's just troops in boats. So we skipped it. I didn't do a slide. It's just troops in boats, guys. Moving on. Next up, we have Chase Chappell, who's ranked 6th in the US West, who's playing a Ynnari build. And I'm like, cool. I feel good about pushing out one Eldari list because we've got one that's far more interesting to unpack. Got a battalion. It's got an Autark, a Farseer, and the Yinkan, because why else are you here?
Yeah.
A Conclave of 3 Warlock Skyrunners with the Council, of course. 3x5 Rangers for the secondary. 5 Howling Banshees, 2x5 Striking Scorps, single Warlock Skyrunner, Viper, a Falcon, and 3 D cannons. To go along with this is a Webway Gate. And in addition, this guy is still so good that Mr. Chase paid 2 CP to bring Baharoth along in an auxiliary.
Wow.
Insane.
I love
Still
it.
so
I
good.
love just the throwback to, I don't know, early Eldar list. Eldari coming
It
in
is.
strong with the addition of the new tech with the Ynnari.
Ynnari with the Webway Gate, I think, is the secret spice for me. I think that adds because the risk that you always have with Ynnari is because you've built a usually foot slogging melee Ynnari army. Eldari army. Cool. You have to come out from some point. You have to, as soon as you come out, if you don't kill a thing, you die. And you died for nothing. The Webway Gate means that essentially every aggressive unit in your army starts at the midway of the table. And the influence you press. In addition, you got the Falcon deep striking down on top of having stuff in the Webway Gate, and you have the Yinkan playing whack-a-mole everywhere. It's actually really dynamic. It's very scary and very hard to account for all the crazy magic tricks that could be going on.
And those
at any
D
time.
cannons too. I mean, those D cannons, excellent board control. I think that was pointed out in the chat. Is like this is great board control with the Incarn, with the D cannons, with I guess some kind of herding folks with the Rangers and stuff.
I'm actually
Baharoth.
curious. Like, I want to see this on stream because I don't know why he wants to take Ynnari with this instead. Because it looks like, aside from like the Incarn, it looks like an Eldar list.
It does. It literally is. I would have thought. I mean, I know why he's
Aside from
taking
the
down.
Striking Scorpions, because you usually don't take them, but in Eldari, but
Literally in this list, I don't know. I don't really understand why it's Ynnari. This could be Baltan, apart from the Yinkan, but I think the Yinkan in proper hands is the straw that breaks the camel's back.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. Like if you bring in the Incarn, if you just want the Incarn, then yeah, obviously bringing Ynnari makes sense. I'm just curious. The rest of the list, like it really looks like an Eldar list. I'm curious to see what. Is it just the Incarn?
So the choices here, you could, of course, the Rangers could be Harlequin Troop, which arguably I argue that Ynnari Harlequins are the best version of the Harlequins right now. I think they're better than
wow.
Twilight. They're better than
Strong
Dark.
claim.
Yeah, with the buffs that you can get, the +1 to wound, the extra mortals, and all those other bits and pieces,
Yep.
in addition to having all the good mortal generating bullcrap you get from still being Harlequins, I think they do get a leg up in the current meta, especially because they get fights first. And because they get fights first, it means you're able to grind into Emperor's Children and stuff like that without just getting overwhelmed. And so I feel like it gives them a leg up in that respect. But to my mind, yeah, what would I change here to get the them in? I don't know, maybe one unit of striking scorpions and one unit of rangers becomes a big unit of Harlequins, but apart from that, I don't know what else I'd want to remove. I like how this is sitting. And Baharoth is just still bullshit, guys. Just Baha bullshit.
He really
It's-
is.
It's so stupid.
He's so
It's
annoying.
Don't
it
be
is so
hating.
stupid. So stupid to see a top level player being like, this little winged piece of crap is worth 2 CP in my army,
Yep.
just to bring him for his bull. Yeah, anyway.
He's like 30,000 years old.
It's
He's
true.
learned some things. He's learned some things along the way.
It should be on his walking frame, Can't jump up, jump down the same turn because he's got to walk.
Doesn't need to. He's got wings, man. Those are they work on their own. He doesn't need to command them anymore.
Hit the
Last list I wanted to break down for you guys for this one. And this I pretty much looked through all the demon lists. I wanted to pick out a demon list for you guys because we've done a couple of Eldari ones, we've done a couple of everything else. And we got pretty much a lot of others coming down. But this is the second last one. We've got 2 more. Apologies, but the last one is a bit of a meme, and we're just gonna have a laugh.
Sure.
This is my pick of the demons. This is Undivided by Mr. Paul Cooper. He's got a battalion, Bloodthirster, Lord of Change, and Skulltaker. Yes, the Skulltaker, bring it on. And a Changecaster. And because the way this is built, the Skulltaker and the Changecaster don't take up a slot, which is cool. 4 units of 10 Bloodletters, 10 Blue Horrors, 2 Exalted Flamers, and of course 15 regular Flamers. I like this list a lot. This is pretty close to something I wouldn't mind running if I was playing him. And I think it's got a lot of the bases covered. The lock is really
Dustin has a
nice in
question.
this.
No.
Dustin?
Trying to get rid of this stupid white light in my.
Oh, I thought you had a question, or
No.
you had to go to the restroom.
Yeah.
No, I would just go. I take you with
Excuse
me.
yourself.
I'm on my laptop right now.
What do you make of this demons list, boys?
I actually really like the list. Like as far as demon lists go, it's pretty pristine. It's got the Bloodthirster. The Lord of Change, I'm still not 100% sold on, but it's great psychic support. It's still annoying to deal with. It's almost like
Can you put the cape of something over on it? Robe of
Impossible Robe is not what it
Yeah.
used to be.
Yeah.
It is not what it used to be. It used to
Bless
be
you,
just-
Paul. I love you. So good. Can't you put the item of clothing, the
Cape.
thing,
the thing,
yeah.
swooshy.
Yeah. But yeah, you could still make it really hard to kill. You can still make a lock really, really hard to kill and remove from the back of the table. You can't use it. You can't get him off the back of the table in a lot of matchups though, because he'll just die immediately. Which is why people are kind of iffy on him. Still does a great amount of mortal wounds. Still make sure you're almost guaranteed to get your you keep some of your your.
When do you find time to mess
Fails
with them
dice.
though? The Bloodthirster undoubtedly has the wound caps on him.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
Well, the idea with the Bloodthirster is, you never want to throw the Bloodthirster up by itself. You always want to kind of give it a little bit of support, so your opponent can't just put all its efforts into 8 wounds, 8 wounds, 8 wounds dead. They gotta kind of deal with something else at the same time, which is why people love Scarbrand and Be'lakor in the same list. I'm not sold on either on Be'lakor as much as other people are. I think it's a little too many points to be in every list. You got to kind of build to make the kind of yeet list work at times. I do like the balance of this list though. 40 Bloodletters is a great place to be. 15 Flamers, I think, is the perfect spot. Is the cherry ripe pick. Arguably, you could even go 3-5-5. I think makes sense a lot of times. A lot of people bring a lot more screens for things like demons, and so having a 3-man that starts on the table just to get a screen out of the way and not waste a 5-man that gets picked up next turn is sometimes a good idea too. And I just think Skulltaker's a baller. Skulltaker's an absolute baller. Everybody.
people in the chat saying they've been taking them since day one.
Yeah. Absolute baller.
I was ready to be like, you can't put Khorne in there with Tzeentch, but then I remembered actually they're not the ones that are opposed to each other. It's Khorne versus Slaanesh,
Yeah.
Tzeentch versus Nurgle. So they could be hanging out in the warp.
It's even fluffy-ish.
All right. The last one we're going to unpack is Mr. Kyle Daly. This is Adeptus Astartes Iron Hands. It's got a Primaris Tech Marine. It's got a Patrol, Primaris Tech Marine, 2x5 and Curses, 4 Servitors, and then a super heavy detachment with 3 Astraeus in it.
I want to point out one thing is that people disrespect the servitors way too often.
Of all the things I thought you could say there,
Yeah, I did not expect
That
you to go with
wasn't it.
servitors. That was
I love
yeah.
it.
I'm also being serious. It's like
I
the
know.
servitors can win a lot of games for players, especially Marine players for sure. And I can't think of a better list to put them in because people will absolutely be occupied with the Estrellas,
Oh, for
and
sure.
you could basically score points with impunity.
Yeah, exactly. Put up a couple of
That's
banners.
just
and
awesome.
It's
love
it's such a cool list. I mean, the shooting ain't nothing. Like,
I would rather see an infiltrators though, because I think infiltrators.
me too.
I've always been a fan of infiltrators because that 12-inch exclusion has become more and more relevant as time goes on. But I tell you, this chap's going to have a great time.
Make
It's
sure
gonna be good.
Joe needs to get him on stream like round 1 or 2 for sure. I
Well,
want to see that.
whenever Joe wants to end the day early, it's just like I could really go for I want to go for lunch. Let's put the Australis on. It's done in 45 one way or another, boys.
Yep.
All right. Picking a winner.
Yeah, I'm going KS Space Marines.
I'm going Unari. I'm going that Unari list.
Whoa, really?
I
Okay.
am. I'm
He's
big on
smitten
it,
with
man.
Baharoth.
I'm
Smitten with it.
smitten with the Webway Gate. Actually, I think
Okay.
I think it's really good tech in the current game.
Okay. I see so much close commentary. I'm gonna go with CSM as well.
Bitches.
We got a shout out for Votan in the chat. It's sooner or later Votan are going to get a breakout. We're not at Votan saturation yet with a little bit of hobby lag.
Yet.
But we will get there, and the people will really see how that shines. But great players playing great list. It really is kind of an any given Sunday out there. Before we get to our next event, we're going to take a quick break for a little bit of station identification. Check out Frontline Gaming Network stuff if you haven't already. That's what's the network bringing you this show and others like it. There's shows. There's a bunch of shows. Check it out. Check them out if you have not already. After we come back, we're going to talk about one more event. And we've got like an awesome palate cleanser that we do each and every week at the end of the show. Sometimes that has nothing to do with 40K. It's going to be fun. You don't want to miss it. Hang tight. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Frontline Gaming. We make the best tabletop gaming mats in the universe.
Wait, what?
Huh?
We're back?
We're back.
Get some water.
I said a few
We're
minutes,
back.
a few
Welcome
seconds.
back. I
was
stood
gonna
up to
take a
scratch my
leak.
butt. I didn't have time.
Yeah.
What a great
Oh my
ass.
goodness.
Dustin was
we
going to try and
almost
turn the sun off above his head.
I was going to try it, and it didn't work. I didn't have time.
The next event we have to talk about is the San Antonio shootout. That is from San Antonio, Texas, which I'm told is also in the United States.
It is, in fact. I had to triple check. It wasn't in London.
63 players, 5-round event. What are we going to see there?
We are going to see 7 Sisters of Battle, 2 Custodes, 4 Astra Militarum, 1 Grey Knight, and 2 Imperial Knights. Space Marines is 1 Dark Angel, 1 Space Wolf, 3 Blood Angels, 2 Ultramarines, 1 Salamander, and 1 Black Templar. Chaos is 1 T-Suns, 2 Death Guard, 1 Demon, 4 Renegade Knights. Heretic Astartes is 4 Creations of Bile, 2 Word Bearers, and 1 World Eater. Whoa!
Mad lad.
Xenos, there's 3 Necrons, 3 Orcs, 2 Tau. Hive Mind, there's 5 Tyranids and 1 Gene Stealer cult. Eldara, there's
There
1
you go.
Drakari, 3 Harlequins, 3 Suryani, 1 Yanari. And then the faction podium means that's going to be Sisters and CSM topping it off with 7. Tyranids in second with 5. And then Renegade Knights and Astra Militarum in third with 4.
That's Catachy country down there. There.
It is. Yeah. Also, remember we always see this, like when we know there's a codex looming, there's a little wave. Everyone dusts them off to get like the pre-work in. I remember where everything was before they put it on the shelf 2 years ago. Because hate to tell you, 61 months is how old I think I hear that codex is.
What was it? It came out
61.
5 years ago or something, right?
October 2017 was that book. Yeah.
Woof.
So it's 5 years and 1 month by the time next one comes out, give or take a couple of weeks. So yeah, we've had children born.
Yeah.
We've had pets. People have like changed occupations. It's a thing.
It is like a corporate lifetime. It's
First time in a while we've seen Sisters take a gold position in a podium, which I think is very interesting. In addition, the CSM internal balance is all melee. But it's interesting to see no Empress children. 4 Creations of Bile. Usually we see it's either Bile or Emperor's Children being the majority of the super faction. And so it is interesting to see none of Emperor's Children, all of the bile. So that is quite spicy. And we do have a bile list to break down when we get to it. Speaking of that, let's jump right in. First up of the players in attendance, Colin McDade is ranked number 1 in the US Southwest ITC rankings. He's playing Sisters of Battle. This is Bloody Rose good stuff. I'll run through it very quickly for us. Canoness Missionary Morven Vile, 3x5 Battle Sisters, 2 Death Cult Assassins, 2 Crusaders, Repentia Superior, 3 units of 8 Repentia, a Hospitaller, 9/7/7 Zephyrum, 3x5 Retributors, and a Rhino to tote
There's a
around.
Dogmata in there somewhere too.
There is. Did I miss it? Yeah, there is a Dogmata. Dogmata, Hospitaller. Yeah, beautiful. Sorry, I missed it, mate. Yeah, a lot of characters, a lot of support, but the usual stuff, the usual Retributors, Repentia, Zephyrum, sliding scale of goodness.
What we thought, this is a throwback list, what we thought were going to be the launch of the Rhino meta.
Yes.
Didn't happen.
Well, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
This is pretty
But it
generic.
could have happened.
It's pretty much what we'd expect. He's got a few little choices, like no novitiates. Instead of novitiates, he's got smaller squads of the Death Cult and the Crusaders taking up those spots. In lieu of the Art of War archetyped big squads of Retributors, the 2x10s that you see sometimes taken, he's got 3x5. I personally prefer the 3x5, and it's seeing the meta in how mealy and how grindy the meta is. I do like that. You don't want a unit of possessed making a big slingshot, getting into your 10-man and picking it up. If they just get into 5, cool, you still got 2 more. Much better for a little bit of a trading game. So yeah, I like this. I think it's very tooled for the meta that Colin's probably playing in, and it should do really well.
I love it. It's, Dorian says the World Eaters will bring the Rhino meta. Nurgle Matt says got 3 Rhinos in a drop pod in his list. Transport meta all the way. Got some calls for some Dread Claws. So Transport's getting a lot of love out there. I like that. In this list, what do you think? They've got 2 units of the Retributors in the Rhino, and then another one probably hiding behind it.
Well, so it depends if he's going for the turn 1 Repentia push. If he thinks he needs to close the gap turn 1, it'll be a unit of 8 Repentia in there, possibly the Repentia Superior, to just guarantee that he can just fire 1 missile unit of Repentia straight down its opponent's throat. Otherwise, yeah, it's probably either Sisters or it's Retributors. And when I say Sisters, I mean Sisters of Battle. So yeah, yeah, 1 of each. That could be good as well. Then you have 2 units hiding in terrain. That's actually not a bad call either. But yeah, really well put together list. It's going to perform extremely well. Next up, we have Mr. Kit Smith-Hanna. He's ranked 2nd in the US Southwest. He's playing High Fleet Kraken Tyranids. So, Dustin, you want to break this one down?
Sure. But single battalion with a Flyrant, Turvagon, Neurothrope, 10 Gargoyles, 30 Termagants, 5 Warriors, 3 Venomthropes, 2x3 Zoanthropes, 3 Mucilid Spores, 5 4 Raveners, and 2 Biovores. Pretty straightforward, I think. There's nothing too crazy here. We've seen the Turvagon with the Termagon squad. Oh, there's questions. Yes, in the back there. The
Professor,
with the,
what is a Mucilid Spore?
What does it do?
Mucilid Spore is a bigger spore mine. So I don't know if they still have the infiltrate anymore. I'm assuming they do, or they could just deep strike. They do more mortal wounds on average. So I actually have to look up what it used to be. They used to be the ones that did D3 instead of 1.
They're like the on stalks or whatever, right?
Yes, they're the longer ones on stalks.
Okay.
Yeah, they any of the Tyrannocyte pods will come with one of those and like 3.
Thank you. No further questions.
Okay, perfect. Got you.
But I'm trying to look up what it does, but it might take too long. Never mind.
I'm pretty sure it's like on 2 to 4, it's D3 mortal wounds instead of 1, and then it'll be like D6 on the 5 and 6. So it's supposed to be a step up from the spore mines. That's a guess though, because I have not.
2 to 4 is D6 mortals. On a 5, it suffers D3 plus 3. On a 5 plus suffers D3 plus 3.
There you go. I was close.
I wonder if this is the Tyrannocyte. Actually, that kit that the Spore Assist comes with has actually been out of stock for a long time. I wonder if this is a kind of a back into that ability for people that might not have access to the model.
Man, it's only if only I didn't already have 3 of each. You meta chasers.
It's a very, very good list. Less Raveners than I would expect from a generalist Ravener list. Generalist Kraken list. I love seeing the Turvagon being added into a lot more lists now. With the durability you've lost in stuff like Warriors, you can really add back with stuff like Invulned or Feel No Pain Termic instead of getting regened. I'm a big fan. Still got 5 Warriors, still got the best part of the Imperatives as well. And upping the game on the Zoanthrope from usually we see 1 unit to 3, now we've got 2 units to 3, which I expect to see that become way more common.
For sure. The mortal wound output actually makes a lot more sense now, and it gives you more range on your synapse, just get some more invulns out there. And Alex, I don't have a problem with Flyrant, because that's a separate data sheet. That makes sense. It's Walkrant that I have a problem with, or any of the things like that.
Yeah, you got a problem with that, do you? Okay, let's go to the next list. Joni Velasquez ranks 3rd in the US
you
West.
son of a...
Chaos Space Marines Creations of Bile. It's got a wince. It's a winged demon prince, guys. Rest of the list: Dark Apostle, Master of Possession, 3x10 cultists, a 3x5 Terminators, 7 Chosen, Master of Executions, 10 Possessed, 5 Raptors, 2 Venom Crawlers, 5 Havocs, and those Havocs have autocannons, if I remember correctly. That is a great freaking list, and it's got more stuff in it than I thought you could get for Chaos. It's like 1 more unit. And for anybody at home who's listening to this back, the reason you need to watch this live is because the beautiful facial expressions of our co-hosts is just cannot beyond compare. You're really missing out. What do you make of the list, gents?
I'm curious about the 3x5 Terminators as opposed to like 1 10-man block, and what the path led to that being the choice.
I'd love to know the thinking and the reasoning behind it. It looks fine to me. I don't think it's a bad choice. I just want to know what the
for board control, it's awesome. I'm thinking more of just about targets for stratagems and buffs and that kind of stuff. That's the only reason I'm questioning it.
I was about to say, look how much more armor you get when you don't take Abby.
It's true. You actually do get a lot more.
That's a great call. Yeah.
Abby is so freaking good though. But it's just are you willing to try? Are you willing to step off the beaten path? Mr. Velasquez is. So many interesting picks here. Not going for the big termies, but going for a larger than average Chosen and a max unit of Possessed in exchange. And I'm all about it. I'm actually not a huge fan of the big unit of termies anymore. I think it's too many points, not because of the termies are too many points, but because as soon as you take the termies, you got 2 shackled units, a minimum of 2 shackled units of characters that have to stay with them and them only. They don't do anything for anybody else. And in addition, it makes your play style, it makes your play patterns quite predictable, because you're like, well, all your good stuff is shackled to the movement of your Terminators. Essentially, as long as your Terminators keep your Terminators contained or whatever, I'm keeping the best part of your army contained and most of the support characters as well.
That's easier said than done, though. I mean, you are right though. If you can identify that, and that's what you're very dead on is when you see that, like your game plan should probably be, how do I contain that? How do I take advantage of them being shackled? Exactly. That's a great way of putting it.
What do you think, Dustin?
I actually like the list. I'm curious as well about the 3x5 Terminators. Chosen, I'm becoming a lot more. I actually am starting to like them more than Possessed in some cases. I still like squads of Possessed as well, but I am starting to like Chosen better. Just because of the options that they have to do that. I don't know if I'd go like 3 squads of them, but I think 1 big squad of Chosen is definitely something that Chaos players need to start including in their list, because I think they have a lot of play with them. 3x5 Terminators is great for like spreading out and getting some like durability on different objectives. Bile means even if they're trying to trade into you, they'll still get the attack back into them. So kind of makes sense. I don't know if it's better than Possessed. I think might be just because Terminators have that better durability against like small arms fire with the 2-up save rather than the 3-up. So I'm curious though. I'm curious to see it. I'm not big on Venom Crawlers.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I'm not big on
going against the grain here, cutting Chaos Space Marine players deep.
Yeah, I like them. I do like them. I think they're good. I just think there's better things to take. They don't like me either.
Well, let's talk about the Master of Execution, which is kind of like a junior Abaddon for killing power.
That guy's awesome.
Absolute savage.
I'm surprised we haven't talked more about this model, because every time I hear about this guy's stats, it's like he's 85 points or something like that.
65.
65. Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, dude.
One of them you can deck out, like make him I think 80 points and cost 2 CP, and he is a monster.
World ender, yeah, absolute juggernaut. Yeah, unbelievable what you can do with that profile. It's just like the ceiling is insane from where you can push it. One thing I will say for Chosen, so for some reason this information never sticks in my head. They're 3 wounds each. Chosen.
Oh,
They're 3
okay,
wounds.
wow.
Yeah. So the reason I love 10 Chosen, more than the Terminators now. So for the same points, 10 Chosen and 10 Terminators, the 10 Chosen get a Rhino. You can have 10 Chosen in a Rhino for the same points as the 10 Terminators. That's with no weapons on each, just what they come with. Those 10 Chosen are the same amount of wounds as the Terminators, but essentially become wound gated as soon as you put them in the Rhino. As long as you use them appropriately. In the merely grindy matchups, that's a wound gated unit. You need to use a unit to get it out of the box before, and I think that's in some situations where we're in this.
Can we make a step up from that? Because if you're playing Chaos, you use Dreadclaw drop pods, not Rhinos. Okay,
dude, that literally you're leading the horse to water. That's the next point I was about to get to. Then you become an evolved being and realize the Dreadclaw exists, and you're like, well, if we're doing this, we might as well do that.
See,
sick.
this is why we have to be co-hosts.
We have seen players playing with the Dreadclaw, so that's like some players are figuring that out, and we've seen them deep in tournaments. So maybe there's a lot to that.
My only thing with the Dreadclaw is it's worse in non-Empress children. If you're taking the Dreadclaw, you want to be able to have it Honor the Prince, so you can guarantee the turn 1 or the turn 2, whatever, good charge from reserve. The Rhino starts on the table, gets a bit more maneuverable. You can get it into a mid-ball position for more pressure, but less reliable, less safety that the Dreadclaw offers you being off the table.
There you go.
All right.
Technique's Dicky kind of giving some shameless self-promotion there with his own Dreadclaw drop pod on the screen, if you can see it now. So if you're on video, you can actually see what it looks like if you don't know what it looks like. There it is.
What's winning this thing?
War Leaders win.
Yeah, what is winning this bad boy? Ooh, I'm gonna. We've picked a lot of CSM this week, haven't we? Have I picked Chaos Space Marines? I picked Chaos Space Marines in the first event. So damn it,
can't pick something Chaos Space Marine related for sure.
Definitely did at some point.
We could legitimately pick Sisters. I'm gonna pick Sisters. Let's do that. There's 7 Sisters in attendance. I haven't picked Sisters in a long time. Let's do it.
Okay.
Good call. I'm going with Harlequins.
Ooh, that's a good call too. Ooh. Dusty.
I don't know what the.
There's 5 Tyranids. It's a safe pick.
It is. But I feel like I'm copying if I do that.
I mean, you now. That's why I said it.
Yeah. I'm
like 9% of the field.
I'm actually gonna go with Necrons. I feel like there's some gas left in the tank with one of the 3 players there.
Point score machine, still thing. Especially the format of the tournament. You gotta look at your tournament when you're going, and one of the reasons that in tournaments where your battle points don't factor in, Necrons may be seeing a little bit of a push down, but ones where battle points do matter, you want to look at one of these higher scoring factions as your kind of priority number 1 as far as threats go. So that look, we're now at the back part of our show here where we have that palate cleanser we call the Fuego Rapido. This is a section where we bring on a series of topics and put a timer on the screen for each one of them. We give ourselves 2 minutes to run down each and every one of these. We invite production on. Tech Priest Dicky, as a disembodied voice, comes and joins us on the show for this point to ask us these questions. I tell you, look, if you're new here, sometimes these have very little to do with Warhammer 40,000. Some of the comments we get is like, what on earth did we just listen to at the very end of the show? I'm telling you, we don't know either.
Yeah.
We don't.
We have no idea.
We have no clue.
It's part of the bargain we made with the Dark Gods to put a check and balance on the grandeur of this show. The content is so good. The presenters are so fantastic. Production quality is so good. We got to water it down in the last 10 minutes of the show. Otherwise,
we talk about crunchy stats. We talk about numbers and this, that, and the other, and meta and this, that, and all the trappings of that. And so this is your little bit of zen here at the very end. Again, just to get you on to the next part of your day. We're happy you made it this far.
I'm just looking at these for the first time.
Don't read them. It's not fair.
Nobody be excited. Let's do this.
I'm personally still jarred on how fast that ad was. How many seconds was that?
I
Yeah,
I don't know. What
maybe?
What card is that?
That's the quick cut, apparently. Very quick cut. Anyway,
go check out the stuff on Frontline Gaming Network.
Yeah, they're awesome. Okay, so who's the best fictional cat or cats?
The best? I mean, the best
what
is.
the
Are we counting Lion-O?
Dude, is he a cat? Then yeah, sure. Why the hell
He's a
not?
thundercat?
Yeah.
Aslan.
Oh,
Actually, no, he was
Man.
real lame.
Lion-O would kick the crap out of Aslan.
Samurai freaking pizza cats.
Oh.
Okay.
My-
Okay. We're setting a bar. We're setting a bar.
My only other option would be the blue cat from Voltron. The blue, yeah.
Oh, the Blue Lion?
Yeah.
Voltron counts, I think, is a great.
As
I'm
a
changing my
as
answer.
a fictional.
You hit it. You actually nailed it.
Voltron.
Voltron is a fictional cat.
There you go. All right.
That is going to be. You can't beat that, actually.
No,
Dustin
no.
hasn't even answered, and it's already
Garfield.
the race is already won.
Yeah.
No, we can't. I can't go Garfield. I was gonna go like an old school cat, like
Heathcliff?
Tom
Yeah.
from Tom and Jerry.
Tom is or Jerry is pretty unkillable, or Tom. Tom is pretty unkillable, right?
That guy has
yeah.
a 2+ reroll.
Yeah.
He absolutely
yeah.
is unkillable.
Yeah.
Yeah, go that one.
Yeah, we solved this one.
Did you solve it?
Yeah,
Can we move on?
I think
Okay,
it's
great.
solved.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
crushed
sorry.
this one.
So what's the name and backstory of your cat-themed Space Marine successor chapter? In 2 minutes. Left.
What?
Oh,
go.
my soul.
Go.
Whew. Okay, this implies that we have one.
Yeah.
So,
If any one of us can answer this quickly, we should be ashamed.
oh,
Fennel, is it Alexander Fennel's got the Hello Kitty themed Necrons? Is it Necrons? I think he's got the pink Necrons. But that might
so
not be
here
Hello
we
Kitty
go.
City. Never mind. All right, Paul. lay
Okay,
it on us.
go. Hit me.
so Sergeant Muffins likes to have his hands painted gray and his boots painted orange, and we call them the Tabinators. That's actually the squad he leads. Is the Tabinators.
Nice.
Yeah, it is a group of Terminators, all with lightning claws,
Makes sense.
and they actually have cyclone missile launchers on them, but they kind of all just bat them off the tops of the Terminator so they don't get to use them before the round starts. So if you ever see me trying to shoot it, you're supposed to say, "No, Sergeant Muffins, the Tabinators cannot fire
Oh no.
the cyclones because they don't have them."
Yeah, makes sense.
But they are definitely known for fighting the Battle of the Paws, the Long Pause,
The long pause.
and that was it.
That was good.
Well,
Duh.
I think you won.
That
20
was we
20
can't. Nobody can top that one. That was
I was going
way
to make
too
it.
well done.
I was literally trying to think up a quip of how to make him show you their buttholes as they fight you.
Yeah, that would definitely be one of their units that would do that all the time.
I don't hate what Paul just did, but I'm not sure if any of us are better for it.
No, we are not better for it at all. But it was very impressive.
Way to go. All right. The what 40K character is most like a cat?
Lionel, right?
Johnson?
Yeah.
I don't know if he's
Um,
cat-like.
Is it Yvraine?
Most like a cat. I'm not saying he's like cat-like.
Yvraine is called the cat lady.
That's
Literally,
true. That's
Monica
true.
is the cat lady. She has a cat on the base. It's her familiar. That could be it.
But is she cat-like
Is that
though?
a cat?
I've had the model.
Yeah.
She's
It-
not
well-
cat-like now.
It's like a lynx. So yeah,
Sly,
Yeah.
Sly Marbo. That's
Yeah.
he's stealthy like a cat. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. Well, how about who's the sergeant in the Ultramarines? No, became captain of the second company.
If you're asking me about Space Marine lore,
Yeah,
I'm very disappointed.
he's got the model now. Now the model's got the plume and the plasma pistol and the sword, but he used to have a model with lightning claws. Kato Sakaris. That's the one I was going for.
man.
Yes, thanks, chat.
Cat Osakarius.
Kato Sicarius.
Yikes. We did it. We did it, boys. We did it.
I don't know whoever wrote these questions what you were expecting, but this is
this is
it.
A cat.
This is
I
it.
don't know.
Was it everything you dreamed of?
I hope. I don't think so. Is this solved? Did we solve?
But when
this
he
one?
was
Is-
young,
What-
fierce with those claws, and now he's just a cuddly Ultramarine, with his hat
Someone-
in his hand.
Someone proposed that previously, I think that when they first saw it before we did this, that one of the lost factions was like the cats of the space cats or cats of war or something, and they rocked up and they were just furries, and so they were expunged and exterminated.
That's sad.
No, it was what was right.
It had to be done.
Yeah, fair enough. Solved. Okay, let's move on. What aspect of cat's life would you adopt?
I'd like to fall asleep as easy as a cat. That'd be
Oh
great.
my
They
goodness,
sleep
yeah.
like two-thirds of their life is just like, where's the sunny spot? I am content and asleep. That sounds great to me.
All right. Convince someone that's making me food that I only like a specific type of food, and then could just change my mind and it'd be a different type of food, and that they would have to bring me that type of food. They would feel compelled to bring me that type of food.
I would just love to be a perpetual jerk and get away with it. Like in all facets of life, if you were a cat, you are considered to be an absolute jerk and are nothing but loved. It's pretty bullshit.
It's actually kind of crazy when you think about that too. I think generals across the world should be studying cats of how they can pull off some of these mind tricks they do on human beings, because it's impressive. For me, I think it's just being close to Adam, just being able to comfortably sleep anywhere, anytime. Because I have trouble finding a comfortable place to sleep, even though I'm tired.
Interesting.
I'd like to show you that I can tiptoe around all of your models, and then immediately just say, no, I've decided to run through them all.
Yeah.
Man, I really thought one of you were gonna say poop in a box, and you didn't. And
I can already do that.
yeah,
You can't poop in a box.
No,
you
can't do that.
can adopt it in your
can do-
daily life.
If you want to.
I can do that if I want to right now. I mean,
Yeah,
Do it then.
can bury it if I want to as well. It's fine.
we have an extra litter box. I mean, I'll start taking a dump in the other litter box too. Get
Please
the cats to clean up, see how they like it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Anywho,
Oh my goodness! If this is your first time watching this show, this is not all. This is not. Well, yeah, this is pretty much par for the course.
Yeah.
It is.
it's cat theme. Was the Emperor a cat or a dog guy?
He's a dog guy. There's no way.
Surely it's a dog.
There's no way.
I don't know.
Really.
I love that there's a counter.
If he was a
argument.
cat guy,
go
he would have been
Paul.
eaten by the cat by now.
Yeah. See, like, dogs are special. Like, dogs unconditionally love things. Cats, I'm not convinced. And we all know the emperor's proven to be kind of selfish.
Really?
Oh,
That's why
he himself is definitely embodies feline traits.
He is like a cat. Yeah. Okay. But
I would say he produced nothing but dogs and dog-like people. Their
That's what I
traits.
mean. Like when you look at all the the chapters.
Yeah, there's
How
not
many
really
cat
a cat.
chapters are
There's
there?
not really cat ones, is there?
Exactly. That's why we had so much trouble with that other. Well, Paul didn't, but that's why I had so much trouble with the other answer.
Paul nailed it.
The amount of factions that are just dog themed more than cat themed. Look at Space Wolves alone. There's no space cats that we.
It could have been space. I mean, it could have been space tigers. Like, I mean, space wolves, space tigers isn't that big of a stretch.
It's that
Panthers,
Space
Li-
Panthers.
space ligers. Ugh.
Dogs are loyal. That's a good point.
Yep.
That's right. That's what he tried to instill. It took the
Interesting.
Chaos Gods to make him unloyal.
I don't think there's any argument that anybody can make to convince me that the Emperor is a cat person, not a dog person. There's too
I
much evidence
think
to the contrary.
he's the kind of rich guy who would have a kennel of hunting hounds, like on his manse next to a river, and he'd have one bullshit expensive Persian cat. And he'd have just mongrel hunting hounds out the front and just one pampered cat hanging out
There you
in the master bedroom.
Very
Maybe a
insightful.
Siamese Harris.
Waggo.
It would be some Siamese Persian ugly skinless weird thing.
Yeah.
All right, last question. What is the best cat and mouse chase in Warhammer?
I assume we're talking about, like, I guess it could be anything really, but like units that are difficult to get in and get out.
Or any kind of cat and mouse chase. I mean,
Even in lore, maybe. Is there a good lore one? I don't know.
well, Cypher.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really
That's
a good one.
actually. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
great one. That's really nice.
Yeah, That's the
Hmm.
that's the most like closest to literal cat and mouse that
Mhm.
I can think of. Aside from like
Oh, Gaz and Yark.
Gaz and
one.
Yark.
Oh, that's
Okay,
one.
yeah, yeah.
That's from the chat.
That is Tom and Jerry like the guys in Yarrick one.
Going back is the Malcador in the previous example. Sorry, the cat in the previous example was Malcador. That's
It was. That's pretty funny. Although he never really treated Malcador that well.
Hmm.
What other cat and mouse stuff?
I think you guys solved it.
Do you
Yeah.
know? You know what the Wile E. Coyote is? The Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner one.
Hmm.
It's Abaddon's 13 previous Black Crusades.
You finally got
Wow,
through it.
yeah.
It's no big deal.
It's just.
or let's see, Aramon in the Black Library. We get a little bit of
That's a good one too.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Can see it.
Tyranids and
No.
planets.
yeah,
Dude,
Slanesh and just Eldari in general. There's a lot of great winners here in the chat. So
Yeah.
thanks for that, because Slanesh definitely trying to catch all the soul gems.
Yeah, I want. So we need to figure out who the bigger Pokemon master is as well. That should be a question at some point. Is it Trazyn who's caught everything? Is it Trazyn the Infinite, or is it or is it Orokin? I can't remember which.
Can't answer it now. That's gonna be a fun.
Well,
Yeah,
go.
we're out of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look, that is our show this week. This has been awesome. I think we've seen again the meta continuing to surprise us each and every week. I'm enjoying going down some of the lists, seeing how some of these generals are taking on these new challenges. Continuing to see the attendance for events be amazing, especially if we start to round out this ITC season, getting towards the LVO. I'm pumped.
Hell yeah.
I'm always excited for all these big events coming. LVO is going to be exciting. I think all three of us are going to be there, including Dicky as well.
The whole FLGN might be there.
The whole FLGN might be there. We
That'd be
all
nice to
might
do
be
another
there.
little stage show or whatever. Hey,
Be
but
there
see,
for
if you're listening to us after the fact, please do not forget to like, share, subscribe. Leave us those 5-star reviews. You leave us 5-star reviews. I don't know. Good things happen to you out there. I don't know. But what it does, it definitely helps the algorithms go out and find other people to come and listen and maybe hang out with us for the live show as well. If this is y'all's first time hanging out with us live, welcome. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was, cool. We certainly appreciate y'all spending the time with us. We'll be back next week. Next week, a whole bunch of cool stuff happening. Hopefully, be able to bring you some on-the-ground coverage from wherever we are. I'm going to be out there for the U.S. Open Series finale for Games Workshop.
Yep. Tech Priest Dicky will be on the ground at the boys GT as well. There's actually been a couple of boys in the field, so it should be a great weekend.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune in for that one too. And the show being held together with duct tape and spit next week as well.
That's what we do. We'll see y'all next week, everybody.
See you guys.